In today's video, we're going to go over the trades that I took this week. We're going to talk about the good things, we're going to talk about the bad things, and you're going to see, if you pay attention, how my daily report cards have really helped me find the areas of weakness, find the areas of where I'm making mistakes, and then make improvements specifically on those small little details that make a big difference. So sit back, I know you're going to find some value in today's video. Welcome back to the channel, everybody. If you're new, my name is Austin Silver. I appreciate you being here. Before we go anywhere in today's video, I want to let you guys know, we just had a webinar about a week ago, me and Tom. It was incredible. The feedback has been unreal. So I want to make sure you guys saw this. We're calling it a masterclass. I think it could be the most valuable 90 minutes of trading psychology work that you'll ever find. So I'm going to put a link in the description. The full video is not on YouTube. You have to go to the link in the description of this video in order to see that. So I want to make sure you guys know about that. If you haven't seen it already, it is worth your time. Now, before we go any further, I also want to let you know we've made a big update here at ASFX. It's actually really exciting. We've bundled all of the courses, all the seminar replays, all of the education that we have right now together in our starter pack. So if you're new to ASFX, go to asfx.biz/education. The link will be right here on the screen. It's also in the description beneath that webinar. That will show you all the information about the courses, the seminar replays, all 20 plus hours of trading content that you get with the starter pack. Plus, you get access to join our Discord chat where you actively get to work with me and other ASFX members. So it's an incredible deal. It's a new update where we just put everything together to make it super simple. I want you guys to have all the content you need to learn the ASFX strategies. And now with this starter pack, I'm confident to push this, and you're going to hear me talk about it a lot because I think I know it makes a difference. We've got guys getting funded, now working on multiple funded accounts, using the stuff that we talk about in these courses. So it's very important if you're trying to find consistency and make more money with your trading, it's very important that you take a systematic approach. And that's what you'll learn in the courses. So enough with the promotion. I know you guys want to get into the trading. If you're excited to talk about some of these trades and hopefully learn something from my mistakes and my good stuff, make sure you hit the thumbs up button and make sure you subscribe so you don't miss my future updates. I normally do these, a couple of times a week to keep you guys updated on how I'm managing my funded accounts and everything like that. So first, we're going to start with the 13th. This is Monday. You can see at the top, I have my risk control panel, if you would, which tells me the rules that I should be following every day. That's important to listen to because we're going to come back to that. Because if you scroll to the bottom of this daily report card, you'll see the mistakes I made today on Monday, I traded too small. So we're going to talk first about how I walk through the morning. First, I do my 10 minutes of meditation. Then I drink my 8 ounces of water. I've been putting salt and electrolytes in the water because I've been doing my yoga teacher training, and it's very healthy to have warm water with some salt and some electrolytes to help hydrate your body, as I take a sip of my water now. And then, the last 4 weeks, I've been doing this 50 push-ups thing. I saw it on TikTok. It stuck with me. It was like, do something hard every morning. But it also has a lot of science in it to get blood flow going in the brain before you start to work. So I've got that morning checklist that I've got to do before I start trading. Then I want to make sure I'm following these specific rules, these specific trading hours. It's all right here, so I see it every morning, right? And this is my older trading report card. I'm going to have a new trading report card in my future videos that's even more detailed, and you guys are going to love that. That's only going to be available for Black Shirt Club members. We're going to be opening enrollment for our next Black Shirt Club 12-week intensive trading session, our 12-week coaching program will be open in the next couple of weeks. So if you're interested in working with me and Tom and James, the Kaizen trader, working with us and a group of funded traders in a small private setting, make sure you stay updated with that. That'll be probably full within the first week. We're only going to let 15 people into that, and we're going to work with them every week for 12 weeks to either get them funded or help them add funding accounts. So that's really what we're focused on. But that's the Black Shirt Club. That's after you take the courses. Hit the link in the description and look at the courses first, especially if you're new. So Monday's trade, I didn't really find anything that I liked on Bitcoin, as you'll see here in the text. Didn't really find anything that I liked on Bitcoin. So I moved over to look for perfect market sentiment lines on forex pairs, and I found one on Euro AUD. The mistake here was that this is actually an A+ setup, and I don't get those too often. If you follow my videos, you know A setups are the most rare. Most setups that we grade end up being B or C setups. This is a really clean break and retest of the Asia high. You can see I have that marked here with the dotted line. It's coming off the 50 EMA, that blue line. The 8 yellow holds above the red 21 EMAs, which tells us that the short-term trend is still bullish, and that comes off this perfect yellow market sentiment line down here. So everything was really good. So my problem with this is that if you read my notes here, I traded this at first 0.25 and then only 0.2% between my two positions. If you look up at my chart for phase 2, this really should have been an A setup at 0.5% risk. So I was a little bit too small. I'm being very analytical, but I was still a little bit off what my rules say I should have been. I should have hit this with a little bit more size because these are good setups. You've got to know when to slam it. You know, when your setups are there, you've got to hit it. And then like the last 2 days, Thursday and Friday of this week, my setups haven't been there. So I'm not even trading. So when they're there, you got to hit them. So that was the takeaway from this. Now you can see here on the 1 minute, my first position comes after the bullish divergence on the 1 minute, pulls that 1 minute market sentiment line into the buy zone. I added the rest of the risk here as we're clearly holding a higher low. Now with market sentiment holding the buy zone for almost 30, 40 minutes, I'm thinking this is ready to move higher any minute. So I added the rest of the risk and it ended up moving pretty quickly to 1R. Took 75% off there. I got a little bit more off as it pushed higher towards like 1.5040, but then the rest of it ended up actually stopping me out in profit overnight. As you can see on the 15 minute, it moves just up 1.5050 at the most to ADR, and then it ends up coming back down and stopping me out on the rest. As you guys know, most of my trades, I take profit pretty quickly, lock my stop, and I get stopped in profit on the rest. That's how most of my trades end up. So Monday, the mistake was I traded too small, okay? Keep that in mind. Now let's take a look at Tuesday, the 14th. So again, same thing, did the morning meditation, did the water, did the push-ups. First thing, I'm feeling pretty good. I see a really good setup on US oil. It's a 2-candle A1 formation. There's some bearish divergence here and support or resistance, whatever you want to call it. There's a key zone here at yesterday's high. So you see, I like trading these flag patterns, right? The problem with this one is that it ends up rejecting this divergence line and coming back down and stopping me out. I did give it a little bit bigger of a stop loss because I saw all these pins and I wanted to give oil the volatility that sometimes it needs to hold the 21 EMA and come up. It actually does end up, I believe, come higher. It does come higher as the day goes on, you can see. So here's that 2-candle formation that I got stopped out on. I have this markup in my daily report card because this shows A2 entries that end up not stopping you out if you use the proper Fibonacci stop, and they end up being winners. Scott, one of our Black Shirt Club members, he won this trade and I lost. So it just shows you can have the right direction. We were both buying it, but the timing for me was off. That's all. I was a little bit late. Literally, that was it. Still on a good entry, but the market didn't move in line with my timing. So here, I actually ended up trading this too large. This was a C setup, and I was a little bit aggressive. The divergence and the resistance zone should have been 2 knocks for me that made this a C setup. I was just being confident, went in as a B setup, and that ended up giving me this 0.25% loss, when in reality, because it's a C setup, it only should have been a 0.1% loss. Not a big difference, but still off edge. So I went from trading too big or too small on Monday to then trading too big on my first trade on Tuesday. So I quickly refocused. One thing I did that really helped is I walked off for 15 minutes. I just took a break. When I came back from the break, and that's big, right? The break helps. When I came back, I ended up seeing an A2 entry here on Bitcoin, short. Perfect market sentiment line. It's in a downshift. I like the idea for this to move lower. I'm very bearish Bitcoin overall, like the stocks, right? It ends up kind of chopping sideways. Moves lower, up, down, so sideways with 3 A2 signals. You see the indicator paints in there. It ends up chopping sideways. I ended up getting out for a very small win because I had a really good entry price, so I was able to get out basically for a wash. If I would have held, you can see it does eventually make its way later in the day down to 1R. But normally these A2 entries should not move like that. The reason why I was able to quickly wash out and move on to a different trade is because I had my third trade. This is the final trade of Tuesday, third trade of the day on US 500. This is another A2 signal, short, right after market open. So market open happens, it drops for a new low of day. It pulls all the way back up and throws an A2 signal. And I'm like, this is coming lower. It's in a downshift. It wants to move lower. It just broke for a new low of day. I could get a great high price to sell this from. And that's the beauty of the A2. That's the newest strategy that we're working on. So then this falls 2R. I hit this with 0.25% risk. So I make 0.5. I make 0.5% risk. I washed on the Bitcoin trade and I only lost 0.2 on, or 0.25 on the oil trade. So I actually ended the day profitable because of washing out on the Bitcoin trade, not taking a loss. I washed it in even, and then hitting the US 500 trade with 2R. So the mistake was I traded too large on that C setup for the first trade of the day on oil. But still, because I stuck to the rules, A2 setups, my risks say at the top, my rules say at the top, get 0.25% risk. So I did trade the two A2 entries, the Bitcoin and the US 500. I did those right. And that's why sticking back to the rules, catching myself being wrong again on the first trade, but then getting back to the rules made me profitable for the day. That's why rules are important. And then let's go over the final day of my trading this week. We'll go over the 15th. This is Wednesday. Again, meditation's done, push-ups are done, water is done. One trade, long NASDAQ. It's a D2 into D1 into A1. And there's even an A2 in there. It has all four of our entry signals all in this trade. So you get the divergence here yesterday with the rising RSI, falling price action at the end of the day yesterday. This would have been on Tuesday. That's Tuesday afternoon. So that divergence signals to me we could move higher. It's actually in a bigger zone of divergence from the whole week previous, from Monday to Tuesday to Wednesday, even from Friday. So there's a lot of support down there at like 11,250. My entry comes, again, as we're forming that flag with higher lows approaching the top. We get 1 minute divergence that then closes with a really good 15-minute A1 entry. The next bar breaks for a new high of day. And that's exactly what you would want this thing to do. That's exactly what good A1 candle formations do. If we look at the 1 minute, you'll see the divergence is here from 5 o'clock to 5:15. That sets the bottom. It holds that bottom with a higher low for about an hour and a half. Then when the 15-minute candle formation closed, that's when I took my position. And look, straight into profit. Within 10 minutes, I'm up 1R and 50% of the trade came off. I ended up locking my stop and not getting tapped out here when the USD news comes in. It was high impact USD news. Doesn't stop me out. And then I got 50% more off here as it pushes to 11,460, 11,470. And that was my best exit. And then I had a very, very small piece on the rest of the day that I held into the FOMC news, and then it stopped me out on the FOMC news. So the thumbs up today is that I traded this with proper size. If you go back, this is a D2 on the bigger picture into a D1A1. The real entry is D1A1, okay? If you go through the checklist, it's counter trend, but the L50 is in the buy zone way more than it's in the sell zone today. So you're more bullish than bearish, but you have to acknowledge it's a swapping L50 and counter trend with the 200 EMA as your target. It ends up going 5R, which is great, but the 200 EMA is definitely the target. Lost connection to my trackpad. Hold on. There we go. We're back. Definitely the target on the 200 EMA. So if you look, being counter trend and swapping L50, I gave it B setup size. Remember 0.35 on the phase 2. 0.35, and then I pulled 50% at 1R, closed 50% more at 2R, and then I ran the rest until it pushed up to 3R, which is where I got that final chunk, and then I held like 0.1%, like 10% of original size, and that stopped me out here. FOMC shakes up the whole day, and then it ends up finishing way higher. So I had the right bias, but the FOMC news is super volatile. That's why I made sure to lock my stop going into that FOMC speech. So that's the recap of the week so far. I'm really happy with the result. I feel like I'm in the flow with everything. You're seeing the patterns are very repetitive. EA had some really good opportunities even today on Friday on the A2. I could show you that really quick. Because remember, EA was my first trade on Monday. Look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4 A2s. This thing is now almost at ADR. Ivan, one of our new Black Shirt Club members, he caught this trade today. And I think he caught the trade on Monday. He's had an incredible first week with the Black Shirt Club. So stay tuned. If you want to be in the Black Shirt Club, the next enrollment period is going to be opening soon for September. September 1st is our next start date. That's a little sneak peek if you stayed through the whole video. I appreciate you guys always. Let me know if you need anything. I'm here to help. Make sure you check out the links in the description. Check out the new starter pack. As always, thank you for being here, and I'll see you in the next video.